After a big week 1 for us in DraftKings, I'm all bricked up and ready for week 2. This is your DraftKings studs and stacks from All Access. It's just one of the videos that we give you every single week here on this channel as we prep you for your DFS week. And boy, are there some plays I really love.
This is All Access, your home for fantasy sports talk.
This is our studs and stacks, and these are going to be those high-priced guys that you need to get into your lineup. For the most part, these guys are over $5,500. If you're looking for some bargain or value plays, you can find that in the previous video that we already did with our values and sleepers. Essentially, with these guys, we're looking for 4 times our points per $1,000 spent. So if I spend on a $5,000 wide receiver, I want to get 20 points. And to show you how successful we were with that last week, we'll get into that in a second. If you're coming back after week number 1, welcome back in. I got a beer for you over here on the counter. And if it's your first time here, welcome in as well. I'm going to pull you up a chair. If you follow me on social platforms, you know there's a lot of players that we do like that just don't make the cut, whether it's their price point, injuries, late bloomer, weather. But every player we talk about in this video has made it to my final player pool. A guy like Cooper Kupp or one of these other $10,000 players might not make it because they're not going to get 4 times their points value. I love them in fantasy football, but I'm just not going to love them on this slate. But we're going to get into about 10 players that we absolutely love and are going to smash this slate, including my guy, number 1 player of the week, Davante Adams. We mention it every video. We're always transparent. Here are the winners that we had last week. And if you see the 4X beside their name, that means they hit 4 times their value. So if it was a $6,000 player, that means they hit 24 fantasy points on DraftKings. And again, we're always transparent. A lot of us missed with Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, and Aaron Jones. Those are 3 guys that we talked about. I put Alvin Kamara in my lineup, and he definitely laid a dud for me. But we did smash Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift. I told you those are my 2 favorite players on the entire slate. Jonathan Taylor, obviously A.J. Brown, a lot of people were on. Jamar Chase, the Colts mini stack was a massive, massive win for a lot of you. So congratulations to those who cashed. Let's get into week 2 so we can do it again. No one won our contest last week. So go back and watch our sleeper and value plays if you haven't already to find out how you can win a Millionaire Maker ticket paid for by All Access, because that man has deep pockets. Yes, some of these are going to be completely obvious, and a lot of you have already thought about it. A lot of you already know who the big stars are, but these are my favorite ones from these price points, starting with Saquon Barkley. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. Nick Chubb just ran for, I think, 400 yards against the Panthers. The linebackers are small. They can't tackle. The defensive line was getting moved around. Their biggest player is Derek Brown, and he was undersized against Cleveland. I'm going to have a really hard time swallowing that pill and putting him into my lineup. For those of you that want to play it, $7,300 is a heck of a lot cheaper than the guy at the bottom of the screen, Christian McCaffrey. Before we talk about him, we got to talk about Nicholas Chubb at $7,100 against the New York Jets, a team that I plan on picking on pretty frequently throughout the year. Now, he had 18 DraftKings points in week 1. That was without a touchdown. Kareem Hunt did get the goal line touches, so that was something I wasn't really comfortable with. And Kareem Hunt did have a touchdown pass reception. I think Nick Chubb gets more looks in this one, kind of as a, hey, appreciate what you're doing, buddy. Little pat on the back touchdown against the Jets. And Christian McCaffrey at $8,900, somehow his price went up. I don't think a lot of people are going to be on him, or at least as many people will be on him because he laid a goose egg last week, essentially. I look for them to get him involved early and often as Baker Mayfield continues to get a little bit more comfortable in this offense. Yes, $8,900 is a lot to stomach. I don't know if you can fit him into your lineup this week, but I do believe he has a 25-point game in him. All right, now this is a page that I plan on living on this week. Joe Mixon at $7,200 against Dallas. They allowed 152 rushing yards to Tampa Bay, even though it was a low-scoring affair. 152 yards rushing. I think Cincinnati's going to jump out to an early lead against the Cowboys, and they might just feed Joe Mixon consistently. Now, if they're going to jump out to an early lead, that's still going to be on the back of Jamar Chase at $8,000 against the Dallas Cowboys. I absolutely love this play. If you watch the sleepers and value play, you know that I love Tyler Boyd even more. But if T. Higgins is going to be out for this team, Jamar Chase, Hayden Hurst, Tyler Boyd, they're all going to be involved early and often. If they put up 28 points in the first half, I would assume 1 or 2 of those touchdowns is coming through Jamar Chase. At $8,000, it's a nice price point for him this week. I think he has the potential to blow up. Davante Adams, $8,600. You saw him as the cover boy. I told you last week, Justin Jefferson was my number one player on the slate. Right here, Davante Adams against the Arizona Cardinals has the potential to be wide receiver 1. Now, I know, that's really not a surprise. He led the NFL in air yards last week. Derek Carr looked his way 40% of all throws, which was good enough for 17 targets in the game. Yes, he did have a touchdown. It was a massive week. This week could be even bigger against an Arizona Cardinals offense or team that we still don't know what we're getting. How much worse is that defense than it was the year before? Is that offense any good? Kyler can extend plays, but he doesn't have the weapons, some people say. Give me Davante Adams to smash this slate. Now, if you plan on paying up for running back or those high-end wide receivers, you might want to find someone on this page or check out the sleepers and value plays that we have. One of my favorite plays that I don't really think enough people are talking about is Tyreek Hill. The Baltimore Ravens are dealing with a few injuries from their defensive backs, including their number one man in Kyle Fuller. Tyreek Hill last week saw a ton of targets, 12, when the game was already in hand. I didn't think that they were going to be throwing as much as they did in week 1 against a Baltimore Ravens offense that has the capability of putting up points because you're not the New England Patriots, whose offense looks absolutely terrible. But without some of your key defensive weapons to go up and slow down the likes of Tyreek Hill, I really like his chances in this one. Let's just hope Tua can be accurate. This one probably catches a few of you off guard, but I don't see a problem with it. At $5,700, I still think he has wide receiver 10 capability in this one. Going up against the Indianapolis Colts, yeah, their defense is pretty good. But another guy who had double-digit targets in week 1, and it's probably going to improve his stats this week. Let's get some more accurate passes. He only had 6 catches to hit 100 yards. Imagine if he had 8 or 9 catches on those 12 targets. It's possible when they're playing from behind. Christian Kirk, well, you know what? Actually, we'll get into it on the stacks here in just a second. Finally, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He scared a lot of you last week. I didn't take him anywhere, but he did scare a lot of you last week by putting up, I think, less than 2 points in the first half. $6,500 against the Washington Redskins, who are dealing with a ton of injuries on the front side of their defense. That's going to give Jared Goff a little bit of time to find some open wide receivers. They saw what DeAndre Swift did week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Washington Commanders are going to try and load up the box and stop DeAndre Swift. I expect Amon-Ra to have a good shot at a good game. Again, we're going to roll out some studs that you probably don't hear on other channels. We're not going to just talk about the most expensive guys. Now, as we get later on into the week, if you want to hear my late bloomers report or who our starting 5 is going to be, we do that for those that go above and beyond in support of the channel. You can find us over on Patreon, patreon.com/allaccess. That is down in the description below. For those that want to support the channel, we give you our starting 5. We give you a weather report on Sunday morning. We give you some of our best bets. We include our player rankings for quarterback and running back, just how we perceive the week to go. A couple of these guys are going to make that list. Derek Carr at $6,200. He's the one quarterback I'm hyper-focused on right now. There's other ones that I like, but his price point is very, very nice. This has the potential to be a shootout type of game. You know it. I know it. Vegas knows it. He was only 5 yards shy of that 300-yard bonus in week 1. I definitely think he eclipses that here week 2, getting more comfortable with Davante Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and some of the other weapons that they have at their disposal. If you think the Cardinals are winning this game, I don't care. That means the Raiders are playing from behind and they're going to have to throw it even more. You think the Raiders are going to win this game? Good. They're going to have to put up a lot of points to do it. Yeah, I know this one says it's for players that are above $5,500, but you can't ignore what Dalton Schultz is going to be able to do with Cooper Rush. Not necessarily my favorite play of the week, but probably the most expensive tight end that I'm concerned with. Again, I play 2 or 3 lineups. I'm not entering 150 lineups, so I need to be selective with what I play. I don't think there's value paying up for your tight end this week. Dalton Schultz is the absolute highest I'm looking to go. That should be Cincinnati. All right, let's just kind of start that back over. Dalton Schultz at $5,200 for the very first time in this video going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. They allowed a league-high 12 targets to the tight end position in week 1. Yes, that was Pat Freiermuth, but that's a Steelers team that probably wants to run the ball a little bit more than the Cowboys are going to have to in this one. Playing from behind, throwing the ball, CeeDee Lamb is your only real weapon at this point. Dalton Schultz with a 20% target share on average in games Dak doesn't play. I like that a lot. Cortland Sutton at $6,100 against the Houston Texans. It's a favorable matchup for them. They just got destroyed by the Indianapolis Colts passing attack. I'm hoping Russell Wilson can have a rebound game and look a little bit better. In this one, he looked a little antsy in his last game against the Seattle Seahawks. I think he calms down, and Courtland Sutton has a very good game. Now, as we roll into our stacks, I haven't decided on a third one yet. I'm waiting on a couple of injury reports to come out, mainly the Washington Redskins defensive front, what's going on with Baltimore, and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that Bengals one is going to be a very popular pick if T. Higgins is out, so maybe you want to be different. Here's two that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. The Las Vegas Raiders with Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, and maybe you want to go Darren Waller. I think you can two-man stack this just because he ate up 40% of the volume in week 1, and Derek Carr is actually reasonably priced. If he brings down the interceptions and increases the touchdowns, which is not a lot to ask out of him, he could be in for a really big week. And finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, cheap. Christian Kirk, cheap, with 12 targets week 1. Zay Jones, who had a number of targets, plus some in the red zone. And finally, Evan Ingram, who ran more routes as a tight end than some teams' wide receiver 1 did. Yes, it's going to be a good week for the Jaguars. That does it for week 2 of our studs and stacks. If you enjoyed this video at any time, please drop a like. I greatly appreciate you making it this far in the video. If you want to go above and beyond in support of the channel, I appreciate it. It's never mandatory, but you can find that down in the description below. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you follow me on any of those platforms, I'll be sure to follow you back. Good luck this week. May you cash again. Last week we hit 171 points with our best lineup. Hopefully something in this video kind of shed a little light on a nugget of truth for you. Maybe you can find and discover something. If there's something that you're looking at, drop it in the comments below. I respond to every single comment that's on the video because I love talking fantasy football with you. I appreciate you watching the video. Best of luck week 2, and go win some cash. Take down the big dogs that have 150 entries, baby.